Well, I think that when you challenge someone's belief patterns on these things, it it can be very disturbing to them. Like, I don't know at Staten Loss, but I know at my organization, I have put out emails and gotten legit death threats from people. Like, I'm going to fly to Panama and I'm going to find you. Like really dark stuff, because when you keep challenging status quo and what's happening in society, and you hold a mirror up in front of people, sometimes they don't like what they see, and it's like, not everybody can come to terms with that. I think we certainly saw that over the last couple of years of COVID. And it was like some people are just willfully blind. They didn't want to know what was going on. They just buried their head in the sand. And it was like, don't shine a light on any of these things. And if you did, then they would attack you for it. Have you seen any of this in the last, your awakening, let's call it, over the last several years since COVID started?
Well, I think in the traditional life, we're kept so busy that we lack the mental capacity to really address
Mm,
the things that matter. And we love to
sure.
pass on the responsibility to someone else. Starting with, I have a headache, I go to the doctor. The doctor told me to do this. Fine, that's my solution. Instead of thinking, do I need to drink more water? Maybe my hamstrings are tight. And that's why, like, I'm responsible for my body, and my body is a whole entity, right? But we love to pass on that responsibility. And when I had my corporate life, which I loved, but I would work, probably between 9 and 12 hours a day. And when I came home in the evening, I didn't have time to study investment and finances and what to do with my money and how to optimize my life. I had an accountant, you do my taxes, I do my work, then I come home, I sleep, play beer pong with my friends on the weekends and we watch the Super Bowl. And now that, I'm at the setup that I have to think about, and I want to think about, okay, what am I doing with my money? How am I investing this? What residencies make sense? How do I optimize my tax residency? Um, how do I move money from fiat to crypto? How do I set up my banking to facilitate, everything that I have in the US and in Germany or in other countries? And so I really want to encourage people to take the time, to make the time always for yourself, to invest the time in yourself for self-study, for all the things you don't learn in school, that really help you elevate your life to the next level, secure your freedom, protect your assets. Because in the end, securing your freedom, protecting your assets, securing your finances allow you to live a free life where you can make the choices that are aligned with your values, your needs, your wants, and your desires. And so, but I find that in the rat race that we see people in, people don't have the capacity. They struggle with jobs, with relationships, with credits and credit card bills, and the last thing they want to know is understand, crypto or Bitcoin or tech stocks or what's happening in the markets, because there's just no capacity.
I think that there's so many problems stem from a lack of personal responsibility, because it's so much
Yes.
easier just to blame somebody else or blame society or blame anything really outside of yourself. But travel, geez, definitely teaches you personal responsibility. Like, you need to be somewhere, you need to get somewhere, where are you going to sleep, how are you going to eat, all of these types of things. There's no, safety net. They love to throw around the world of a social safety net. Well, when you're out there traveling, backpacking, or digital nomad, or whatever we want to call it right now, you have to step up. I mean, you have to grow up really, really fast. And as to your earlier points, in I would throw Canada in this as well, but in North America, people are young for a very long period of time. Like, there's just, you go through high school, then you do your bachelor's, then you do your master's, and then some people go on and do their PhD. And it's like they're in their 30s and that's all they've done. They've been a student since the day they were born, and now they're into, their late 20s or 30s, and they've never had to ever make it in the real world. And so it's like, you there's very highly specialized in one piece of knowledge, but I joke on the other side that they can't tie their shoelaces or they can't wash the dishes or stuff like this. And so you have these like highly specialized individuals who are going into relationships or trying to work in the workforce, and they don't have a well-rounded skill set because of that specialization. And so I think that travel really rounds out human beings and shows us so many other lessons. Like, my background, unlike yours, is not from a corporate standing or not from a university. I dropped out of school when I was a teenager. I had dyslexia and had a terrible time with public education. And I stopped going to school at 12 years old. I'm very open about that, and this is my life and my learning experience is so radically different because it was all based on experiences of figuring things out. I'm not saying mine is good and right and then anyone else's is bad and wrong. Certainly not. But I understood that there are more than one way to get educated. So yes, I don't have a university degree, but I don't think that anybody who would ever meet me would say, quote unquote, I am uneducated. So my overall point is to circle back, my overall point is personal responsibility is really supercharged, turbocharged when you start traveling.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, I think I excelled in school because I was very disciplined. I'm good at memorization. I'm good at recalling. If someone has an expectation, I can just give them that. Regardless of what I may think are right, I can fit the mold if I want to. But did it necessarily help me in other ways? I mean, in some ways, yes, in terms of structure and discipline, but like you said, you really learn everything in the real life through travel. When I was 2004 traveling through El Salvador and Costa Rica with my tennis bags at tournaments back in the day, there was internet cafes and you check in with your parents once a week. Hey, mom, I'm still alive, lost my match or whatever, or made it to the semis kind of thing. And so, yes, I would definitely encourage for people it's in the doing that you learn and in the network. I never even understood that in my corporate life. I was so focused at just doing my job and I did really good with my team, but I wasn't great at networking with a higher upper leadership. I think my career could have been, excelled faster and been different if I had understood the power of network. So one, to your point, get out there and do stuff and learn and fail. And two, build your network, talk to people. Those are your best teachers. If you go to school, you have a professor who has one point of view about a topic and he's written his thesis on it. And yeah, you can learn things, but if you're really passionate about something, then find a person that's done that and talk to them, connect. So in terms of, yeah, just get your hands dirty, get started, and then build your network. That's one of the biggest learnings I would take my younger self.
Well, and definitely because over the last couple of years where everything went virtual and we're talking today
Mhm.
on Zoom, which is amazing. I love Zoom and I'm super grateful and blessed to be talking to you today. But nothing beats, hanging out with you in person and being at conferences together and sharing lunch together you know and it's that connection in person which I think really strengthen things. That's why, I really make an effort to go to your guys' conference every year, and it's far. Like it's really, really, really far. And I'm schlepping around my mom, the wife,
Mhm.
3 kids, a nanny, and we're going all the way over to 2024 was in Montenegro, and I should see you
Mhm.
guys in Portugal this year. So it's like, yes, it's a lot of work, but the rewards of spending time with someone in person and building that network in person is so valuable. It's like, we do so many conferences and events here in Panama and in other countries that we spend time in. And I'm like the first thing I say to everyone is like, thank you so much for getting on an airplane and coming and seeing us in person. Like I'm so grateful when people make an effort because it I just don't think it can be replaced with an online or a digital or anything like that. Even though I run a digital business, I'm still such a fan of in-person connections.
Yeah, and you have a really powerful network. I'm curious in terms of what are some of the things you've done to build that? Like, when you do conferences, you have Ron Paul or like some incredible people there. How did you go about connecting with those people and maintaining those relationships?
I've been very blessed in my life for older men, mostly, who saw something special in me at a young age, and not like a, quote unquote, like formal mentorship. They never said, "Hey, would you like me to be your mentor?" Like it's not like that. It's just you spend time with the next generation, and they open up a lot of doors for you. And this has been going on for decades now. Like I
Hmm.
don't know what it is, but people saw something special in me at a young age and just were very generous with their time, and I ask a lot of questions, hence why I have a podcast. I like to ask a lot of questions. I don't pretend I know everything. I try to be humble, and I have a genuine curiosity for trying to understand things. And I think because I lead with my value system in everything that I
Mm.
do, that people recognize this, that I am a real person. I every time someone comes here, they're like, "Wow, you're exactly the same way you are on the podcast. Like you're the same person." I'm like, "Of course. I mean, isn't that the point?" Like I'd be very concerned if you meet someone in real life and how they perceive how they show themselves on a social media or on a YouTube channel or something like that is not how they are in real life. Like that's non-congruent. Like I don't like that at all. But no, I think I just got really, really lucky and very fortunate at a young age to have some amazing men who were generous with their time, and they invested that time in me and opened up doors. And I've just had a lot of these types of informal mentorships over the last 20 years. And just showing up and consistently asking questions for long periods of time shapes you
Mm.
into a very good person and a very interesting person, and I would say.